All right, back out here again. So I had this idea that I want to try. I want to try to basically shoot GoPro footage on a 5-inch quad. This is the Emax Buzz. And then I also have my phone here as a microphone, and I'm going to basically do a podcast while I'm flying in the air of footage of what the flying is and then of the voice of this. And I plan on calling it Flying Off the Handle, because I tend to get really passionate about stuff that I talk about. But this is just going to be like an intro video, and it's still kind of a test. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to even do this or not. This is the first time I ever flew this quad with the GoPro Hero 7 Black on there. So let's get it plugged in and let's get up in the air. So if you guys haven't been watching my channel, my name is Dustin. I recently just started flying. And I just recently started flying 5 inches, like really recently. This is the fourth flight, so. And the first time on with the GoPro. And I'm flying a 6S. Ooh, yeah. Still feels pretty good. 6S battery, 1000 milliamp. I gotta tell you, I could barely feel that GoPro, and the GoPro is like 117 grams. And honestly, it's not very much weight. So I'm going to talk about how I got into flying in the first place. So whenever I first started flying, it was back probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I was flying micro quads. Micro quads line of sight. Like I didn't fly FPV until this year, until 2020. So I spent a long time. I spent like, well, no, I first started flying like 11 years ago. But I was flying all line of sight. This is really, really, really hard to talk and fly at the same time. A lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So this might not work. Oh, that was nice. Do a little pop-up right here. But like I said, I was starting to fly line of sight quads because I started seeing them in Walmart. And I remember when I was a kid, I would fly with those little shitty helicopters that you could buy from Walmart. And they were terrible back then. Like, they didn't have accelerometers. They basically were pieces of junk, and they were very, very hard to control. But I started seeing them like 10 years ago popping up in Walmart again, and I was like questioning, okay, maybe these have gotten better. And they definitely did, but I was afraid to go for the quads. Even though I saw quads in Walmart right next to them, I was thinking that those things are really going to be way too hard to fly, and I don't want to waste my time or waste my money on something that I'm probably to end up just going to break. But after I flew the little micro helicopters for a little while, I realized that they're really crappy. And the one thing that I wanted to do more than anything was I wanted to be able to take off and then like have a place in my house where I can fly to and try to land it. Like that was that's all I wanted to be able to do. Really, I really hope that GoPro hasn't fallen off there. I think I would notice it. But I didn't realize that those micro quads were way, 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 way better for that than the little micro helicopters were. So eventually I did buy a micro quad for the first time, and I remember the first time I flew it, it was so foreign, it was so hard. And one thing that didn't make any damn bit of sense was the yaw. It was so difficult to yaw at the beginning. Like whenever you first start flying micro quads, it is such a difficult concept to turn and yaw and still like make sense of orientation once the quad is facing back towards you. Whenever you're flying line of sight, obviously. When you're FPV, it doesn't matter. Oh, look at that. Oh, almost hit that pole. Did you see that? Alright, this is going to be really, really difficult to record this. This is going to take a lot of practice. But like I said, this is a practice run. I will get better. Please don't tell me there's a... I thought maybe there was a soccer fencer. Soccer goal right there. Can I speak, please? Anyway, after I flew those line of sight quads for a little while, I was so addicted to the idea of flying FPV, so I went up to my local hobby shop, and I was like, hey man, I'm really, you know, thinking about flying FPV. What's your advice and like what I should buy? And I remember he brought out a bunch of stuff, and he was like, yeah, there's this thing and you could buy this, but it's gonna be like $1,000. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like the cheapest setup you can get for FPV flying is like $1,000. And I was like, that can't be right. And basically he discouraged me from ever flying FPV. It wasn't for a couple more years that I had to wait a couple more years before I was actually willing to go back up there and spend the money. And then once I went back up there, I realized that there was a lot cheaper options, and the guy that I had originally talked to didn't really know what he was talking about. And I just realized that I am facing in the completely wrong direction, but I'm getting really good, I'm still getting range. So anyway, I gotta land this. It's at 3.6 volts. Gotta bring it in. About a 5-minute flight time. That's not bad. I'm excited to see what this footage looks like. I'm gonna fly the other 2 packs. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm not gonna record anything. Anyway, that was the first podcast of Flying Off the Handle. Absolutely garbage. I'm aware of that. I'm going to get better. I will get better at this. It's just gonna take some time for me to understand the logistics of just how difficult it is to fly and talk. Now that it's landed on the ground, I feel like I can create, I could say everything that I wanted to say when I was up in the air. Like I had this whole idea that I would take off and I would start talking about how everything was whenever I first started flying, and like the first thoughts that I had and all this, but I wasn't able to think about 90% of the stuff I wanted to talk about. So this is gonna take a lot of practice. I need to spend so much more time just flying and talking and practicing that, and then eventually this will actually be a thing. Because I'm thinking, you know, I got 2 more batteries here. That's already 7 minutes of footage. If I could fly 2 more packs like that, we could probably get like 20 minutes, a 20-minute podcast out of it. And it'll be beautiful because you'll be, and this, by the way, this isn't the only footage that I want to get. I don't want to just fly in an open field like this. I'm still getting used to the 5-inch, still getting used to talking and everything. Eventually we'll be going into different spots and flying different areas and mixing it up a little bit more. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment below. See you on the next one. See you on the next one.